I think that the negativity that surrounds a team like Leipzig, I think, was it club formation to Champions League semi-final in 11 years. So there's a lot of negativity around that and new money and that sort of thing. But
do you care about that? Do you look at RB Leipzig and are you sickened by what you're seeing on the television screen?
Like, I understand people's opinions, but at the same time, these very people who are giving out about these clubs making loads of money off the likes of Red Bull are the very people supporting Max Verstappen to win the Formula One Grand Prix this weekend in Spain for Red Bull. So it's a little bit ridiculous. It's accepted more in some sports. People love the likes of Formula One and the money that is pumped into that. Mercedes buy the Formula One championship every single year, but pumping money into their car, designing a car that cannot be beaten by anyone because they have more money than anyone. So look, the fact that it's happening in football now is no surprise. It's going to happen in every single sport. The more money you have, the better you are. We've seen it with Dublin GAA. I mean, the 5 in a row has to be linked in some ways to large amounts of money that they get, and fair play to them. But we have to accept that this is a part of sport now. And when you see teams like PSG and RB Leipzig in a Champions League semi-final, it really brings it home, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, I mean, those people who seem to genuinely care about RB Leipzig definitely intrigue me. Like, I think that all the concerns you raise can be genuine and you can point to reasons why there are reasons that we should have concerns about RB Leipzig. But those people, especially in this part of the world, who have genuine concerns or who claim to really, really care about what RB Leipzig are doing kind of actually intrigue me. Like, my question for them would be, like, do you actually care, or is this actually some sort of faux outrage that we've got going on against RB Leipzig? Like, I think fair enough if you live in Germany, you support a Bundesliga team, you've supported a German team that have been around in society for quite some time. Like, I get that. I get if you're a Dortmund fan and you've got your 139,000 paying members, and then you look at a club like RB Leipzig pop along with their 17 paying members, and obviously that's not really a membership at all. It's not really a fan-led club whatsoever. It is a completely commercially led football club. I kind of get that. I kind of get if you're a proper Dortmund fan, then absolutely you can have your legitimate concerns. Like, there may be legitimate concerns that they're harming the game in your country, but really the legitimate reason I would give to a Dortmund or a Bayern fan or anybody else in Germany feeling a little bit uneasy about RB Leipzig is that everybody feels uneasy when somebody new comes along and threatens you. Like, for me, that's just human instinct. And if you're sitting there this morning and you're a genuine Bayern Munich or a Dortmund fan and you feel uneasy about RB Leipzig, for that reason, I'm like, fair enough, that's just human nature. But if you're sitting here in Ireland and you're like, this RB Leipzig thing is a disgrace, and then you support Manchester United or Liverpool or Manchester City or whatever, I'm not sure. I think that is just faux outrage. Like, I actually can't get behind that idea that we should all be hating this Leipzig team, especially when you look at the sport as a whole. Like, there are a couple of other things here. If you want to even play a full devil's advocate on the whole thing, is it not kind of a good thing in some ways what Leipzig are doing? Not how they've been formed, but what they are actually doing. Like, if you say that they are harming the tradition of German football, well, is the current tradition of German football not the fact that Bayern Munich win the Bundesliga every single year? And if somebody comes along to, say, threaten that tradition, like Borussia Dortmund coming close to winning a Bundesliga, then Bayern Munich get back to tradition by buying out Borussia Dortmund's best players. That is, for me, the tradition of German football that is quite obvious on the outside looking in. The fact that a team are coming from behind the Iron Curtain, essentially, to actually threaten the top tier of the Bundesliga, is that not a good thing? Like, 2009 was the last time you had a team from East Germany in the Bundesliga before Leipzig came along. Like, I don't know, I think it's just, there's a lot of strange, like, even the brand of football last night was pretty good. Like, a young team, a young manager, playing an exciting brand, as I say. Like, if you're sitting there thinking that they are corrupting football, that ship has sailed a long, long time ago. The Champions League is a product of exceptionally grotesque capitalism. That is a fact of life. We've had that for years. And if you think that RB Leipzig are the cause of that, then you are living in dreamland, quite frankly.
Like, Niall Quinn agreed with you on television last night. He spoke about the Iron Curtain and the fact that this is a team from East Germany, which wouldn't have seen much success or joy, really, in the last number of decades. So, yes, they are the most hated team in Germany, you'd have to say. And outside of that, people are looking in with a little bit more optimism and a little bit more take this at its merits, because a decade ago they're making their debut in the 5th tier of German football. The fact that they can build up to that, and look, yes, they've pumped loads of money in, but when they beat Spurs in the last 16, you couldn't really say they had a team filled with household names. I don't think they had spent over £20 million on any one of those players that played against Spurs in the last 16. So it's not as bad as some of the other teams, your Neymars and Mbappes, who have been dragged into this PSG team. The hatred towards them is something else. And as you mentioned, if they make the Bundesliga more competitive, I think they finished 3rd this season. But if they can bridge that gap, I mean, Bundesliga is becoming like the Scottish Premiership. You have Celtic going for 10 in a row this year. Bayern are completely dominant in that regard as well. So if you could have the likes of Dortmund and a team like Leipzig, and I think like Leipzig are starting to bring joy to their city. They're starting to fill their 40,000-seater stadium every week in, week out. So, and they definitely will now that they're Champions League semi-finalists. So it's hard to see. It's hard to see all the negativity behind them. I agree.
Well, the Scottish Premiership comparison is an interesting one. Would we not love to see Iron Brew Aberdeen come along and absolutely crush the top two, crush this sort of duopoly that we have in Scottish football? Would that not be a great thing? I think that comparison is actually a really, really good one. My point is that if you're feeling distaste about RB Leipzig, you absolutely need to have that level of distaste about Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. Now, in fairness, there has been the level of vitriol that you'd see on Twitter about Leipzig last night was certainly matched by Paris Saint-Germain the previous night. But maybe our cough has softened a little bit on Manchester City over the last few years. If Manchester City win the Premier League, when they won the Premier League last season, you don't see the same sort of reaction that you will get if Leipzig go on to win the title this year in the Champions League, at least. Yes, it has been quicker, and yes, Manchester City were a Premier League club for ages, but they aren't entirely different. This is the game we play now, and I think everything you say there about the Formula 1 comparisons are certainly true as well.